Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
"10X Your Business" starting today with digital marketing from Just Minding My Business Media, LLC, on JMMB Media TV or Mindset Movers TV. Contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Sincere gratitude for what looks like the little things in life create the foundation for positive possibilities. Jennifer Shaheen is the founder and president of Technology Therapy Group. She is recognized as an expert in planning, implementing, and translating digital marketing and technology. She is a digital transformation expert, user experience enthusiast, and data insight specialist who expertly guides business owners through the intersection of marketing and technology. Jennifer's marketing strategy, brand development, and small business operation skills have aided companies in the retail, manufacturing, hospitality, luxury, and travel industries. She is a contributor to and quoted expert in notable publications such as Entrepreneur.com, Forbes.com, CIO, Newsweek, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, welcome. I am so impressed, and we are ready to learn from you for sure. So how did you get on this road?
Well, it's really funny, Ida. I've actually been doing this since my junior year of college, and I started the business in 97. And I kind of say, I grew up a digital native, right? I went to school for marketing and I have a minor in business computers, and I was actually selling computers, and people would say, you explain things so well. Can you come home and teach me? And I really literally did. I would go to people's homes and start teaching them, and kind of grew from there. And so now, what is this, 20 plus years later?
Wow.
I am still teaching and training, and now we're, especially after 2020, right? So many small businesses really need someone who understands where they are today and the need to learn and do some of this digital outreach themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely 2020 threw everybody into a whole new groove. It was like, what you call it, learn by fire is what I call it.
Exactly. And, I think that was part of our retransformation ourselves last year, is because we were watching so many people struggle. And, it's tough to learn by fire if you don't have good people to turn to.
Absolutely.
And that's, I think, I love your opening because it's the little things. One of the littlest things that we can do is ask for help. And, that's really, I think, what we're all about at Technology Therapy, is trying to help growing businesses, whether you're a startup or, 5 years in, 10 years in, digital transformation is ongoing, and just ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But because I'm an IT guru for over 30 years, so we were already digital, and I was so happy that we had positioned ourselves, because like you said, there's so many people who were not and had to make that shift. And a lot of times it's fear, because, in my business, a lot of times when something goes to the left, the first thing people say is, what did I do wrong? And I'm like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be you. So
Very true.
Explain exactly what your company does in layman terms.
Sure. So Technology Therapy Group, what we do is we offer online bite-size classes. So you can come and learn just a little bit at a time. So you can take a class on digital marketing, digital advertising, how to set up my Shopify, all these little components of running a small business. We have search engine optimization, just in bite size. And I think as someone who's started out as a trainer, as you heard that, I noticed that if we try and do too much, it's so overwhelming. And then to what you said, there's that fear factor that sets in. And I think it's one of the big things that we try to do is eliminate the fear factor by doing sort of this bite-sized learning. But then we have mentoring. So I have some people who come to us and say, I just really need a one-on-one person to work with me and my business and help me and focus on my needs. And so that's the second thing that we do is we give businesses one-on-one attention. But again, we're teaching them to fish, right? It's very important to impart that knowledge. So instead of them having to go to school for 20 years, they get that little bit of knowledge put into their business with a mentor. And we have mentors that are experts at everything from understanding online reviews to working on Instagram and with influencers to business strategy and digital development. And then the last thing that we offer is, of course, implementation. So if you need us to help and support you, we can do that as well. But we always do it with a training component because we're hoping people will understand that we're here to impart knowledge on them and not just run things. We want to support them. So they're always learning. And even if they don't want to go in their Google ads, or if they don't want to go in their Facebook ads, or they don't want to learn SEO in real detail, they can feel like somebody has their back.
Absolutely. And I like that approach. That's the same approach I had. Somebody called me and say, this is broken, and I fix it. I immediately go into training mode. Okay, next time, these are the things that you can do. Because I think it's important that once it happens, that you empower them to be able to do it themselves, or at least be able to explain what has happened if somebody else does it.
I agree with you, Ida. And, one of the feedback we often hear, and I'm sure you've heard this yourself, is it's not only important to talk about what someone should do, but also to explain to them why they shouldn't do certain things.
Right.
And that's where, yours and my years of experience really come in handy, because we help people avoid the things that would take them down a rabbit hole.
Right. Absolutely.
And where they run into problems.
Absolutely. So tell us what a typical day on the job looks like.
Oh my, there's nothing typical.
No, after I said that, I was like, okay, never a typical day.
Oh no. So we're a team of almost 15 people. So we have experts and implementers in different areas. So for me, I could say the one typical thing I have every day is a staff meeting. Which is typical. But outside of that, we have clients who are here in the States. We have clients who are in Europe, and, we do everything from, working one-on-one with, let's say, someone who owns a daycare center, all the way up to, helping a team on more advanced items. So it really varies. And then, of course, the other thing that we're doing is putting these fun classes together. A lot of what we've been rolling out is really about what people are asking us for is, I need help with, digital advertising, or I need help with Facebook. We just actually did a free webinar, and you can get it on our website, technologytherapy.com, on like ad compliance. Between Google has this 3-strike rule now, and Facebook pushing back on their ad compliance. We wanted people to know, what can get them on the no-no list.
Oh yeah, Facebook jail.
Oh.
Yes.
It's true. I've had that happen, and so many small businesses don't realize like a simple word that is in their terms and conditions or the wrong photo because you took something at the wrong angle can be foreseen by the bot as inappropriate. And it's not inappropriate at all. We see this happen with companies who advertise things around health and beauty. So it really, there's so much going on and it's changing so fast.
Yes. Every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I was just watching 60 Minutes last night, and they were talking about AI. And they had Tom Cruise. I think it was on TikTok or something, but it wasn't Tom Cruise.
No.
It wasn't. I mean, it looked exactly like him, facials, everything.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing what artificial intelligence can do. And it's funny because now, people program machines and machines are now learning. And what's happening is so many small businesses are sort of trying to figure out, why is my ad not performing, or how come I'm not seeing people open my emails anymore? And some of it is related to some of these components of artificial intelligence and machine learning, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. This is a deep conversation because
this could get deep, right?
Yes. My mouth was wide open when I saw that. I was like, oh my God. Look at that. I mean, and it wasn't Tom Cruise.
And I think this is actually, it's funny that you brought it up because I think this is also something that scares a lot of businesses in getting into digital, right? Is understanding or afraid that their businesses can be spoofed in different ways, right?
Yes.
And we do hear this all the time. Like I have someone who's messaged me today. They are running a contest on Instagram and they noticed all of a sudden someone popped up an Instagram account that copied their logo. And I sent them a message right away and said, here's where you go and report that. And I will say, this is the one thing I will say about Facebook when it comes to your trademark. They're really good about protecting that. So if in the US and foreign countries you have proof of your trademark, you can definitely submit it, and they take that very seriously and they will get on top of that right away. Now, if somebody hacks your account, on the other hand, they don't seem to take that seriously, but that's one I will say they do.
Yes. Neil, let me ask you another question. When it comes to protecting your environments, do you guys get involved with that as well?
Excuse me. We are not cybersecurity experts by any means, but as a small business owner myself, I do talk and advise and kind of guide. And I'm sure you probably give a lot of the same advice. Is, we always remind people, especially with digital, make sure you always have your two-step verification set up properly. And, with these platforms like Facebook or Pinterest, a lot of times people hand their usernames and passwords to people. Right. And so there are now tools that you can better manage your business and invite people in. So, Facebook has Business Manager. With Google Ads, you do not have to hand somebody your password. With your Google My Business, you do not have to hand somebody your password. You can invite them in and say, you can help administer my company with me, but do not hand anyone your passwords.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. And a lot of the, because I just had people working on my website. And what I ended up having to do was create an account. They had to create an account. And each time they log in, they have to put their password in and re-authenticate and all that good stuff. So, yeah, so it's definitely, you never want to give anybody your password. That's enough.
And something you brought up, like if your website is WordPress, a lot of people don't know, and we have a free video out there on this. There's a plugin for WordPress called Stream. and it logs. So you know this in IT, it's like a key logger. So it logs everything that person does when they log into your website. And again, like even with things like Shopify or Wix or any of those platforms, many of them have a place for you to invite someone in as a user, as opposed to just giving them your login information.
Wow. Ruth, you on mute. Okay, there we go.
I know I'm on mute. I'm letting you two have this conversation. It's all technology and IT and all of that. And that is not my forte at all. Ida is my go-to person when I run into trouble. And that's pretty much where that stands, even though I am learning more every day. And I think that's the biggest part of it, is being able to learn. And what I like about what you said about your training sessions is that you give it to people in bite-sized amounts. Because many organizations, when it comes to any broad subject, they try to give all the information at once. They have hundreds of videos for you to watch. And at some point, and I'm guilty of it, it's like, I'm not doing this anymore, just because it just becomes overwhelmed. You get into overwhelm. And you end up giving up. You do work, and then you finally just kind of give up. So the idea of creating bite size, where they can go in and get what they need and nothing more for that moment until they need something else, is a brilliant idea. I like that.
Thank you so much, Ruth. And your perspective and what you shared about yourself, you are part of our ideal audience, because we actually have we have a section on our website called freebies because why not, right? And so we have these little things called Yes You Can videos, and we have TTG tidbits, and they're all under 2 minutes. So if you don't even want to do bite sizes and hour-long live training classes, you can also do 2-minute little bite-sized learning lessons, or under 5-minute little Yes You Can videos, because we all can, right? We all can. I had to learn how to read a profit and loss statement as a business owner. I had to learn how to drive a standard when I was a kid. Like, there's all these things where we say we can't do something. And I think that was one of the things that I loved when I started listening to your show, is like this positivity of life, is like, we can do it. And so that's, one of the reasons why I was so excited to be here, Ida and Ruth, is because, there's that sense of positivity. And I think we all can do it. It's just sometimes it's not easy, but I have to say what we do, the digital marketing and things like that, and running a business today, we can do it. You need to remember, you can't do it all at once.
Yes,
exactly.
It takes time to learn, process, and then execute. And sometimes when you go through all that and you get to the execution, you mess up. And that's where people like you come in. I was like,
Right.
Hello, I got this far and now I have no idea what I've done. So come along and help me fix it. And I think that's important, because right now, so many people, again, the whole pandemic, what that did to the world is that we are mostly working from home. Many of us who used to be out in the workforce prefer to work from home. And if you're going to work from home, you must understand the digital world. You have to get a grip on it. And because, like you said, it's changing so quickly, you have to keep abreast of it, and there are things that you're going to know and that Ida's going to know that I am clueless about. And what's even more important is that now you have an older generation, I forget what they called us. Anyway, the older generation. We had, you have Gen X, you have the millennials, and you had ones that came before. I'm in that group.
You're a baby boomer, baby.
The baby boomer. That's it. I couldn't think of that. That's funny. I'm a baby boomer. And, we're not stopping. We're not retiring.
No.
And many of us who have gone into retirement have come out. And we're like, so what am I going to retire for? What am I going to do? So in order to get out there again, this digital knowledge is absolutely essential. And we need places to go to be able to get that information. and sometimes take it in bite size because, we're coming up with new things every day. Sometimes even the elder ones, like myself, the baby boomers, are being slammed by different types of scams. And sometimes you hit the wrong button and you find yourself in another world and you don't really know how to get out of it or get it cleared up. So we need other people to be able to go to help. So that's a big issue. I know yours is more about helping businesses, but this whole issue for seniors is huge. I mean, everybody gets scammed. I mean, or people try to scam them, but the older generation is being hit by it. And if you don't have some knowledge of technology or know where to go to ask, like you said, ask for help.
Yeah.
Right. And I think part of what you're also talking about, though, is a lot of baby boomers are starting businesses now.
Yes.
And, even if it is a small business, it can be consulting, but it also might be that they're buying into a franchise or, they decided, I've always wanted to have X business. And now, because it's such a digital forward world, they do need to know, okay, I have to have a Google My Business listing if I have a local brick and mortar anywhere, so I do think it's important to also recognize that, entrepreneurship doesn't have an age limit, right?
Absolutely.
Not anymore.
Absolutely. And really it never did, because you think about the people that ran businesses, a lot of them did the same business till the day they left this earth.
That's right.
Because they enjoyed what they did.
That's so important to remember. Thank you for bringing that up, Ida. And because I was thinking about my childhood the other day, and I grew up for a couple of years, I was living in the Bronx. And one of my memories of the Bronx were all of the individually owned businesses. You had the baker, the butcher, the candlestick maker kind of thing, the cheese maker, the shoemaker. And they were all older people. I remember older men and sometimes their wives working with them. And they were older ones. You went into a Jewish delicatessen in New York and it was a mom and pop affair. And it was like mom, pop, grandpop, grandma, and the whole family was there together. And they worked, like Ida said, until just about the day that they left the earth. And I think it's interesting, we're coming back to that. People don't want to stop being productive. They want to.
Very true.
They, if we're going to have rocking chairs, we'd rather design them and sell them and sit in them.
And you know what, Ruth? More and more people want to shop local and small. As a matter of fact, I just did a class today, and I was quoting Google study that they did with Boston Consulting Group, and they talked about now, if you have a business, do you know now more people are searching for, so they'll say, instead of just business near me, they'll say things like woman-owned business near me. Or they'll say sustainable business. I know personally, I, often Google farm to table because I like to eat farm to table. But to your point, and it's, I think why I felt so, it was this important, technology therapy really needs to get to more people, is because these small businesses need to be found, and we can't just walk by them anymore. We have to walk by them now digitally, and now we do that by Googling, but we're Googling these kinds of phrases because we want to give back to small businesses. But if I can't find you, then I can't go to my local cobbler. I can't go to that, local business that you just talked about. And the Bronx was a perfect example, because even in the Bronx, they still have those kinds of issues because they're dealing with big and small in New York, right? So I have clients in New York City, and I do a lot of coaching with SCORE. I work with the SCORE New York, and they're a wonderful organization, nonprofit, right? But I see this happen. It doesn't really matter whether you're in Pennsylvania or Pensacola or the Bronx.
Right.
people want to work with local small businesses and they want to give back to community more than ever before.
Yes.
But we need to help them get found because unfortunately, we're starting that on Google.
Yes, yes, that's the
That's
walk
really
by now.
important. Thank you for
The digital
bringing
walk
that
by.
out. Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they want to give back, but they, like you said, they use a broad term,
Mhm.
restaurants near me or whatever near me. But we need to refine that. Just really refine the phrases that we use so that these people aren't missed, because they are out there. A lot of people are doing kitchen table businesses again. We thought that
Absolutely.
we had moved past all of that, maybe 20 years ago almost, and that we were into the broad market and, brick and mortar and some online, but COVID-19 changed all of that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now we are back to small businesses, family owned a lot, or, groups of people coming together to form a small business. And the people who need their businesses are the people in their community who don't know that they exist.
yes. Well, I am so happy, Miss Jennifer, that you're doing what you're doing, because it
Yes.
is really, really critical. And like you said, Google is a walk by now.
It is.
It's not where you can just jump on the trolley or the bus and walk downtown and discover.
Yes.
You
There's
can't do
that
that anymore.
discovery. That's true. I like that illustration, Ida. That's a really good illustration, because we don't get to do that anymore. And
No.
you used to find out all these great little stores that all of a sudden became your favorite. There was someone who was making in Baltimore. Oh, my brain is going. It's like slush today. But anyway, one of my favorite little treats. But he was Middle Eastern. And it's a sesame, it's made from sesame seed. And it was not in the best neighborhood in Baltimore. But oh my gosh, when I got in there, it was a discovery. And, it was like, he became one of my favorite places to go to get this particular treat, which I should never eat, but it's so good. It's so good. And it comes in all these different flavors. I discovered pistachio a little while ago. And I'm so glad I don't live in Baltimore right now, because I know that he has. And he didn't sell little pieces. You could buy the whole block. So yeah.
Wow.
But that's what discovery is. Those little specialty stores that you would never think you would come across.
Yeah.
And then they become your favorite.
And you know what's really funny about this, Ruth and Ida, is that if you have a Google My Business listing as a small business, if I click on a map item, it shows me others that are similar and nearby. And so it's so important that you are updating that information. And also, a lot of people forget how important, like Google added in there last year during COVID, they also added in places where it says COVID excerpts, but they also added in things for minority business owners and women-owned business owners. So people want to shop more responsibly and make smarter choices. Google is actually helping businesses point out those, facets of who they are. And I think that's important. And then, of course, Facebook jumped on that a little while after. Right. But I do bring it up because I think it's important that people remember that you need to remind the community, not just that you offer a product or service, but if you give back, if you're giving, back to your community in other ways, if you're environmentally friendly, sustainable, please note these things. Don't hide your, message under the bushel, as they say, right? You really need to put it out there so people can patronize companies that not only are small and local, but are close to the things that they're trying to give back to.
Mm-hmm. That is very important, to give back. I agree with
Absolutely.
You. And when you really think about it, that's how this country was built. It wasn't built with Walmarts and Targets. It was built on the small business person. Mm-hmm. There was bartering, all of that was going on. I got butter, you got eggs. That's great.
Right. And that went up into the 1950s. I think they say that in the 1960s that stopped. You know how you used to hear on television shows someone coming over to borrow a cup of sugar, to borrow something. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that. And it's like all of that went to the side, and now it's going to have to come back because, well, times are different, and we're going to
I live here in Rhode Island, and I happen to live in an area that's some small farms. And I'll tell you, the farms will put signs out, and they also will say, text us. So I wanted to bring that back up because we're talking about, working with small, and you sort of said kitchen table, but again, even some of these local little at-home businesses, they'll put the sign out and say, text us or use our Facebook. And, so really it doesn't matter anymore, right? If I want to get local eggs, I just text.
Exactly.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I really do like it.
Yeah.
I like the way, even though we've gone through some changes, and we'll still be going through changes, I like the way the economy is changing. I like the fact that people are becoming having their own back, so to speak. They can create something small, and they have their personal self-esteem back. They can say, no, I'm not a millionaire. I'll never be a billionaire. But this is what I do. I love doing it. And I have something to contribute to society. And I think that's really so important. I think, especially in these times, that we have something individually that we can give back into the community.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's so important.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm giving back to the small business community.
Yes, you are.
By
Yes,
the way,
you are.
I want to say something to you. I love the name of your company, Therapy. I think that was really, how did that come about? How did you choose the title of your company?
So that came about, I've had that trademark actually since the early 2000s, before there was so much therapy, even in, TV shows. But I was at a client's, and I was still a one-person business at the time. And he would say to me, and I don't want anyone really to know why you're here. And he said, you're really not a consultant. You're more like, well, you know what? You're more like a therapist. I go, I'm your technology therapist. And he's like, that is great. And it's actually how I got on. Because of that, I was in Newsweek. I was interviewed on Japanese radio. There was a whole, campaign that went around because I would have these confidential meetings with C-suite executives because they didn't want individuals to know that they were learning, because if anyone remembers in the early 2000s, right, certain things were starting to get cut, like executive assistants.
Yes.
So there was a lot of pressure for C-suite executives to start to learn how to be more digital forward. And then, of course, small business owners, again, same thing, they started to think the same way. So that's how that came about. As a client of mine kind of said I was more like a therapist, and then just kind of grew from there.
Yes. And that's exactly what it is, therapy, because you've got to work with the mindset around the digital stuff. So it's very fitting, very fitting.
I love that you said that, Ida, because I'm sure as a woman in technology, we always run into those like stereotypes on IT. And I try to say, like, we're hand holding you through the process. We try to help people feel, and they hear the word tech and they get so nervous. But
yes.
I mean, that brings us right back to like where we started the beginning is, I want people to not be afraid of it. So the design of the logo and everything is meant to give people that warm and fuzzy and I can do this mentality. And we said the word earlier, empower them to be successful.
Yes. Yes. And that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Really what it's all about. And really what they don't know is it really takes a lot to really mess up a computer. It really does, because when you delete something, it always asks you, are you sure? Before you say hit that button, you get an opportunity to change your mind.
That's true.
I wish, unfortunately, some of the things we do today were as good as that, because Google doesn't always warn you when you're changing an ad properly, or,
Yes.
when you go to edit a WordPress website, there's not the big button that says, are you sure? And
Right.
depending upon who you work with, you may not have the restore capabilities. So I mean, unfortunately, my world is, in some ways I thought it was getting easier. In other ways, it got a little more difficult. And so I just want to make sure people have all the right tools so that if they do make a boo-boo, they know, what, someone should have given me a restore button. And that is possibility today. You just have to have people watching your back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing like it. And we always needed that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I first got into technology, I was scared too. Every time something had happened to my computer, I would call my friend. I don't care what it was. I would call him and he would run over. And then one day he was like, look, I'm not running over here no more. You're going to have to learn. And it was scary. It really was scary, but I ended up learning it. And even with something brand new, I still have to take the time to learn it.
Yeah.
It never ends.
It's true. But you know what? Life is about forever learning, right?
Yes.
We should never stop learning. Our brains need the food. And so no matter whether we're, learning something indoors or outdoors, technology or personal, I think that's just me. I just love to learn. I didn't love school, but I love to learn.
There's a difference.
I don't do well with structured learning. I think that's probably why I was a pretty good trainer, and I still am, because I don't do well with structured learning. So I find a way to make it easy for people. I always like to try and break the software. And every time I tried to break it, I would find all the things that people would punch on.
And that's the way you learn. You break
it. That's true. But when you're a small business, you don't always have the time or the energy or the money to have somebody fix it. So that's why we're here, to make sure you can know what buttons to push where, and feel like you're not going to break your website, or you're not going to fall down Google, or you're not going to, get allowed from a Facebook ad. You can do it. You can learn this.
Wow. I am so glad we met, because I needed you when I was building my first WordPress site. Oh my God. It took me days, weeks, because even though I'm in the tech field, it's still new. Never done it before.
And so much of our world is not just technology. Right. So what makes a good website isn't just the technology. It's someone who says, okay, how about spacing the letters differently, or, making sure that's why the customer experience side is so important, because, what experience are we giving the customer? Are they seeing themselves? What pictures did you put on your website? That is so much more than just the technology. And I think I love that you started at the tech side, because I'm always starting on the other side. I'm always saying, do you have the right words there? So that the user who reads the page feels connected, but also the bot that, Googled you and said, should we show you on the first page of Google? And it's kind of like putting together a recipe now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
Good time just talking about this, because I can see there's just so much more to it. I'm sort of like on the outer frame of it. I'm the receiver or the observer. But the two of you that just have so much in common.
I know. Plus, she's so bubbly. I like that bubbly.
Yeah, it's just interesting to hear when two people are in the same arena, so to speak. and can talk about these things that many of us, it's a mystery. It is a total mystery. So on that note, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, they need some technology therapy. How can they do that?
Well, we don't want to make that a mystery. So it's really simple. Technologytherapy.com is the best way to get a hold of us. Of course, you can Google us, but that's the fastest. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. But technologytherapy.com, you can find free videos, you can find the classes, you can just read our blogs. There's a ton of free information just to dip your toe in the water and learn more about how you can be more successful.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Jennifer, thank you. This has been thebomb.com, to say the least. And we can't wait to have you back, because this is so important. And those people out there who may be hesitant of even starting their business because of digital, we got Jennifer, y'all.
Well, I appreciate that, Ida and Ruth. I'd love to be back. I had a blast. You're all a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You're fun as well. I love that spirit. And people, when you have a good spirit, especially in the digital world, it makes it so much easier to teach.
It does. I agree.
Because people feel it. They feel that vibration, and they feel like they're in good hands. So thank you so much for bringing it. And we are looking forward to doing this all over again.
Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistacircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.